In high-performance automotive engineering, physical length is the ultimate penalty. Adding inches means adding mass, compromising a vehicle's rotational agility through tight corners. To preserve handling, a standard modern supercar is tightly packaged around 4,500 millimeters. Stretching a chassis past the 5-meter mark, over 196 inches, is a severe compromise engineers actively avoid. This scale silhouette comparison shows exactly what we're looking at. Against a standard supercar profile, you can see the drastic rear overhangs of the Maserati MC12, McLaren Speedtail, and Pagani Huayra pushing right to or directly past that extreme threshold. Welcome to our evaluation of the length tax. This is the final episode in our 4-part series analyzing the longest production cars ever made. Extreme length in a hypercar is never an accident. It is an uncompromising tax paid to achieve one specific extreme engineering target. First, the Maserati MC12. This is a raw, analog track weapon built specifically for the V12 era of racing. Second, the McLaren Speedtail, a modern, hybrid-powered missile designed entirely for absolute top speed. And finally, the Pagani Huayra. This represents the coach build philosophy, rolling art constructed with intricate, bespoke craftsmanship. To evaluate which manufacturer best justified extending their chassis, we have to look past the multi-million-dollar price tags and analyze the specific aerodynamic or aesthetic problem they were trying to solve. These 3 cars represent a showdown between 3 entirely different priorities: motorsport homologation, aerodynamic velocity, and historical coach building. The MC12 exists for one specific reason: the FIA GT1 homologation rules. Maserati wanted to race, and the rulebook required them to build a road-legal version of their track car. Those rules mandated massive aerodynamic downforce. To fit the necessary underbody aero surfaces and the enormous rear wing, Maserati engineers had to stretch the body to a staggering 5,143 millimeters. Moving that massive frame required serious power, delivered by a naturally aspirated 6.0-liter Ferrari-derived V12 producing 630 horsepower. The dynamic outcome on the track was a level of cornering suction that allowed the MC12 to dictate the pace of early 2000s motorsport. But the daily trade-off is severe. On a public road, the MC12 suffers from non-existent rear visibility, terrible parking dynamics, and approach angles that make speed bumps a major hazard. The MC12's length is purely a regulatory tool. It sacrifices all street usability to satisfy a strict motorsport mandate. McLaren's modern approach goes in the exact opposite direction. They abandon track downforce entirely in favor of absolute straight-line velocity. This visualization illustrates teardrop aerodynamics. A chopped rear creates turbulent drag. Eliminating it requires stretching the tail so the air smoothly reconverges. At 5,137 millimeters, this extended chassis also packages a twin-turbo V8 and hybrid e-motor, generating 1,050 horsepower. The outcome is a vehicle that feels settled and precise, even while cruising at 250 miles per hour. The dynamic trade-off here is agility. The extended wheelbase and heavy hybrid system rob the car of the nimble, canyon-carving rotation you would expect from a standard McLaren. To break those top-speed barriers, the length is an unavoidable physics requirement. You trade playful handling for brute force aerodynamic efficiency. The third philosophy treats extreme length as an emotional and aesthetic choice, completely independent of racing rules or wind tunnel maximums. Pagani stretched their chassis out to 4,980 millimeters, specifically to mimic the romantic, flowing lines of endurance racers from the 1960s. It still utilizes a massively powerful 840 horsepower twin-turbo V12, but setting lap records was never the primary engineering goal. The trade-off is strict exclusivity. Limited to just 5 units, buyers pay an astronomical premium for bespoke, museum-grade craftsmanship. Pagani uses length as a canvas. It proves that adding mass to a hypercar can be a deeply emotional tribute to automotive history, rather than a mathematical necessity. Looking at this spec-to-purpose matrix clarifies who makes the best use of a 5-meter chassis based on your exact priorities. If you want the motorsport purist experience, the Maserati MC12 is built around analog, downforce-heavy track DNA. If you are the engineering optimizer, the McLaren Speedtail is the absolute pinnacle of low-drag hybrid velocity. And for the coach-building aficionado, the Pagani Huayra is designed as a focused showcase of bespoke aesthetic luxury. Extending a supercar ruins its daily drivability. But if you want to achieve hyper-specific extremes in motorsport, velocity, or art, paying that length tax is the absolute prerequisite. This analysis concludes our 4-part series investigating the longest production cars ever made. In our earlier videos, we saw manufacturers use massive length strictly to isolate passengers in absolute luxury. Today, we saw it utilized as a highly specialized weapon. If you were forced to accept the handling trade-off of a 5-meter wheelbase, which of these 3 long-tail philosophies would you choose? Let us know down in the comments. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like the video, share it with fellow enthusiasts, and subscribe for more data-driven guides.